Good day, ducklings. Welcome to another Unity tutorial video. Today I'll show you how to add play, pause, and exit functions to your game by pressing buttons or keys on your keyboard. Here in the Unity editor, we have a simple scene of a ghost floating. Then in the project panel, we have our play, pause, and the exit sprites. Let's create a button for each of them. Now that our buttons are set up in the editor, let's code the functions. We will put these functions in one script called Scene Manager. I'll put this in the scripts folder. We're going to make 3 functions called play, pause, and exit. We also need to make these 3 public so that our button can have access to these specific functions. So how do we actually make the game pause or play? The answer is this variable, time.timescale. In our play function, we are going to set the time to 1, while in the pause function, we are going to set it to 0. That's actually all we need for the play and pause to work. Then for the exit function, we're going to use the application.quit method. Now that our code's done, let's return to the editor and set up the button functions. With all of that done, it's playtest time. Now if you've noticed, everything works aside from the exit button. That's because we're in the editor, not in the actual application, so we can't exit the game here. If you want to check though, you're gonna need to build and run the game first. Now in most games, the play and pause buttons are usually not next to each other, instead they interchange with each other. We want our game to show only either the pause or play button at a time, so that if the game is playing, we can press the pause button, but if the game is paused, we can press the play button. To do that, I'm going to put our pause button over the play button. Now, let's go back to our script. First, we're going to add a public game object called button. This will be the button that we want to interchange with. When we press play, we want pause to appear and play to disappear. When we pause, we want the opposite to happen. Alright, let's go back to the editor. Since the game is already playing at the start, we need to disable the play button game object. Now let's test this out. Voila! Our button functions are complete. Now that our button functionality is done, let's add in some keyboard controls. To do this, we're going to use the update function and some if statements. First, let's add a boolean value called displaying, so that our code will know if the game is playing or not. Using the update function, we can check whether the player is pressing the key that we want. Then if the game is playing, we want the game to pause, but if the game is paused, the game should continue. To make this cycle work, we also need to keep switching the displaying value in our functions. Alright, let's playtest our code. As you can see, there are 2 issues here. First, let's fix the error in the console. When pressed, this leaves us to this line of code. Now if we think about it for a bit, the culprit of this error is actually the exit button. When we go back to the Exit Buttons inspector, we will observe that there is no game object assigned to the button variable. The thing is, we don't want our exit button to execute the play or pause code when we press P, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna add an if statement. In our play and pause functions, let's type if the button is not null, meaning if the button does exist, that's the time we are going to execute the following code. Now let's test this out. The exit button works fine now, so let's proceed to the other issue. The key controls are not working correctly. Pressing P only works when you press it twice, instead of once. However, this is actually a pretty easy fix. All we need to do is to add public static in our isPlaying variable. Public static makes sure that there is only one instance of the isPlaying variable across the 3 scripts in our 3 buttons. If you want me to explain static variables further, leave a comment below. Okie dokie. Now let's take a look at our final scene. Splendid. Everything's working as planned. That's all for this video. Let me know what topic you want me to discuss next in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe my ducklings. Take care and see you soon.